Hey guys, how's it going? New location with the Panic at the Disco poster and the Milano cookies in the background. There they are. Sales data for the past couple days. We had a Flareon from the Jungle Set First Edition PSA 9 sold for $185. Good job, Flareon. We had a Koga's Beedrill First Edition PSA 9. This is really important because it sold for $70. Again, First Edition PSA 9. That is about 10 times less than what the PSA 10 sells for. So we're at that upper end of normal. Again, normal is the 10 sells for between 5 and 8 times what the 9.4. Lower end is about 3 times. High end is about what 10 times that what this is. So this is following the rule. We have a Vaporeon First Edition PSA 9 from the Jungle Set as well. This was hollow, sold for $150. It was only one bid, but again, that's what I've said before. If it's a high bid count and it's about what the thing is worth, it's worth it to bid because that one bid sold. So again, that's probably worth a little bit more, but because it wasn't an actual auction, it started from not from 99 cents, but for 150. That's what it sold for. We had a Blaine's Charizard. It was raw.
Where's my cat?
A raw copy. I did not see any type of dents in it or any type of bad wear and tear. Little light scratching on the hollow. There was some whitening and edge wear. I would have given it anywhere between a PSA 6 and a PSA 7. So if it would get a 7, that's obviously worth more than $91. So whoever got it, good for you. We had a Dragonite First Edition PSA 9, and that sold for $270. Good job, Dragonite. I don't think any PSA 9 has sold for $300 yet. Had a Gengar First Edition PSA 9 from the Fossil set. This is hollow. That sold for $270. Great job, Gengar. And that sold for $167. Disregard. We had a Haunter from the same set, First Edition PSA 9, sold for $66. I think that is worth a little bit more. It probably should be worth maybe about $80 because the PSA 10 version of that is worth about $265, $300. We have a Hitmonlee First Edition PSA 9 hollow from the Fossil set as well. That sold for $72. And if that's selling between $330 and $350, that $72 is about the lower end of normal that we have seen. Also have a Heracross First Edition PSA 9 that I did not write down what that was worth, so sorry about that. We had a Blossom First Edition PSA 9 that sold for $38. The reason why I think that is a little undervalued right now, again, not a lot of people like Blossom, but the reason for that I think it's undervalued is because we had an Azumarill First Edition PSA 8 sell for $30. So the 8s are selling what the 9s were selling for about 6 months to a year ago. Moving on from the Neo Genesis set, we had a First Edition PSA 9 Ampharos that sold for $70. Again, 2 years ago, you could have gotten the PSA 10 for about that, $66. That's what I got it for. So now if the Ampharos is selling for $70, I sold my PSA 10 version for about $150, which I think was a little low. Now it's probably worth about $200. We had First Edition PSA 8. That was a Electrode PSA 8 hollow, sold for $33. New record price point for that PSA 8. Also had a Scyther First Edition PSA 8, which sold for $56. New record price point for that PSA 8. Great job, Scyther. A Jolteon First Edition PSA 7, another record price point, which sold for $56. So you see, I don't know if it's because of the virus, because everyone's in quarantine, and they're just focusing on trying to get collectibles because it is an alternative asset. It is something that is you could buy, and it's most of the time it's only going to grow. Like unless you're stupid and you buy something at a crazy outrageous price, whatever you buy it at, even if it's slightly above market value, 6 months to a year from now, it's going to go up. This virus has not affected the collectible market at all. Moving on past the Jolteon, PSA 7s are moving like crazy. It's amazing. Is a First Edition PSA 9 Nidoqueen from the Jungle Set, sold for just under $100, like $99.68. So the person who bought it between the taxes and the fees probably bought it for like $114, around there. Had a Vileplume First Edition PSA 8 from the Jungle Set, sold for $40. Again, that 8 is now selling for what the 9 has sold for about a year ago. This one is interesting. We had a Porygon. It was a CD promo. You know, that one from 1998. It was Gem Mint PSA 10, sold for $28. That card is at least worth $50 minimum, and you got that for $28. Whoever got that, hats off to you. Amazing. We had a Lieutenant Surge's Raichu sell for $197 at auction. So we know that I've gotten this for $150 in recent weeks, and people have been struggling to sell it. It's like, all right, $220 or best offer, or $230 or best offer. And they haven't sold. But when it goes at auction, when people have the chance to bid and compete, the market takes it to new highs. $197, great job, Raichu. Giovanni's Machamp, first edition PSA 7, sold for PSA 10 sold for $157, and that I thought was interesting because if the 9 sold for 70 something and the raw copy sold for almost $100, then the PSA 10 should be minimum $210. And I probably should have bought the 10 at $157, but I just bought 2 copies recently, PSA 10 at $120 each copy. We also have a Giovanni's Nidoking that sold for $184, which that card, again, less than 200 PSA 10 copies in the pop report, and it's such fantastic artwork. It looks amazing. I'm a little biased because it's one of my favorite cards. That card should be worth minimum $200. Sold for $184. It's a fantastic buy. We had a Ditto, first edition PSA 10 from the Fossil set. That sold for $206. That is a record price. New price point for that Ditto. And moving on, we had a Koga's Ditto, which basically reaffirmed the price point. That Koga's Ditto, first edition PSA 10, sold for $152. Most recent one sold for $156. And again, a year ago, you can get that card for less than $100. So you would have made 50% on your money in 12 months. It's fantastic. You see how Pokemon and collectibles outpace the S&P 500. They outpace the market, even on good years. But obviously now, because of the virus, we have a downturn and people are definitely losing money. But even on good years, when you're making 15, even 20% in the S&P 500, Pokemon's still beating it. So you have after that, we have a Dark Dugtrio, first edition PSA 10 at auction, sold for $260. That also is a new record price point. That is beautiful artwork. I should have gotten it at $150, $180, $210. I didn't, and that was my mistake, because now if I want it, which I still do, I have to pay $260 to $300. There's Lauren saying that we're stupid. We're stupid because I didn't get it at that price. Now, we have a Neo Genesis first edition PSA 10 Togetic, sold for $321. Obviously, that Neo Genesis is going to sell for less than the price of the Neo Destiny. Neo Destiny has so few copies that sells for thousands of dollars. Or, I don't know, not even. It's only $1,000, between $800 and $1,000. But the Neo Genesis, still get that Togetic, still get amazing artwork for $321. Lastly, we have a Venusaur, first edition PSA 9, which the 10 sells for between $3,000 and $4,000, but about $3,500, $3,600. So this 9 is selling for 7 times less than what the 10 sells for. Auction had 3 bids, sold for $500. Anyway, I'm just saying, also today I did get paid from my first business, and I bought 1 share of Illumina for a little under $275. I bought 1 share of Tesla for about $508. Should have waited because now it's down to like $481. And then I bought 9 shares of Square. Again, all of these companies that I'm buying are Disruptive's companies. Disruptive Illumina is data collection for DNA. Tesla is data collection for driving. And Square, again, they own the Cash App. They're data collection for everyone, every business owner that does not want to pay for a credit card processor. Again, disruptive companies and data collection. That's what I am buying. I'm not saying that's what you should buy. That's just what I'm buying. And then obviously you do have VOO, Vanguard, which tracks the S&P. That up until today was the second most held stock that I had in my portfolio. Now Square's overtaken it as the second most stock. That is still number 3. That's still ahead of Illumina. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. I hope you all have a good one. I'm going to go make another drink. Godiva chocolate and Irish Bailey's cream. If you have not tried it with some vodka, 10 out of 10 would recommend. I hope you all are having a great day in the quarantine, and catch y'all later. Bye.